All right, so a very warm regards to you all. We are here with this new topic called political instability in Nepal. My name is Sanjeev Roy and I welcome you all on behalf of IAS Baba. So today, as we know, this Nepal issue is so much in news because there is a protest going on in Nepal. This protest has got some uniqueness in it, some unique element. This is, I think, for the first time, it is a Gen Z-led protest that is going on in Nepal. It is a Gen Z-led protest going on. We call it youth-led. Youth-led protest has happened in the past, but the Gen Z-led is, I guess, for the first time it is happening, and that is happening in Nepal. So today we are going to analyze this topic in full detail. So before we proceed further, I'll tell you what and all I am going to, or we are going to have in this session. What is waiting for us in this session? So that is political instability in Nepal is the topic, and we will be analyzing this topic from different dimensions. The first thing we are going to see, as per me, there are, or as per standard operating procedure, we can say there are actually total 6 dimensions that we need to work upon before we analyze any, for complete analysis of a topic, and that is why we need to know, and the second thing is what we need to know, the third thing is pros or something positive, right? And then we need to know cons, that is something negative, and after that we need to know steps taken if there is any, and followed by recommendations, right? Recommendations, what can we recommend and all. So these are the dimensions that we need to work upon, and for all the current affairs, we follow this procedure. The first thing is why. Under why section, we are going to see that why this thing, political instability, is in Nepal is in news, and what are the reasons for that political instability. So that is the second dimension we are going to have a look at, right? So this is the second dimension. So first we need to go analyze why. Why is it? The second dimension that we are going to analyze is, that is what. What is the thing that we need to address very appropriately. Under what, actually there are total 6 dimensions that I have tried to answer, and that is views of scholars. What are the views of scholars that has been addressed? The second thing is, what is Nepal's current political situation? What is current political situation? Then we need to see that what is the current political system in Nepal, what the political system, why this issue is happening. In order to understand that completely, we need to understand the current political system of Nepal. That's the fourth dimension that we will be addressing under the what is that political history of Nepal. What is the political history? How come from monarchy they become the what you call it as republic? They call themselves as Federal Democratic Republic as of now. So that is their position. So this is 4 dimensions that we are going to see in what section. We are also going to see what is the China's factor. What is the China's factor in this Nepal in instability, political instability in Nepal. And the 6th dimension under what we are going to see is what is the treaty of peace and friendship between India and Nepal, right? So these are the things that we are going to see under what dimensions. Now, as I told you, why and what is done, then that will follow what? Negative territory, that is cons wala section. So under negative territory, when we come over here, I have covered 3 dimensions, and that is 1, Nepal's suspecting India's role. So the protest that is going on in Nepal, Nepal is actually suspecting that there is a role of India in that protest, and why they are suspecting that we are going to see under in this dimension only. And then we will see the challenges in Indo-Nepal relations, because in order to analyze the issue comprehensively, we need to understand this as well, that is challenges in Indo-Nepal relations. And this will also, as you know, this will come under the negative territory as well. And then we'll see impact on India's interest, the protest, the political instability that is going on in Nepal. Since it is a neighboring state, since it is a neighboring country to India, what impact of that instability will be there on India? We need to understand that as well. So as you can see from the topic, from the heading itself, that these are the things, these are the subheadings that will form the part of the negative territory. So I hope this is clear, that we are going to see this as well, followed by the positive territory. That is in positive territory, I have got two topics. One is historical and cultural relations that India and Nepal share. So we need to understand that as well, followed by the significance of Indo-Nepal relations. Both of these dimensions will be covered under the positive territory. And then we are going to see possible way ahead. So as you have seen, in order to analyze the topic comprehensively, you cannot go on the basis of following this procedure artificially. You are getting my point? You need to analyze it on comprehensive basis. What is one dimension? Under that, several dimensions can come, like we have seen in our case, that is the 6 dimensions are coming. What are the views of scholars, Nepal's current political situation, current political system, political history of Nepal, and then there is treaty of peace and friendship between India and Nepal. That also we need to understand. So this is how, first of all, I would like you to all follow is that this is the procedure you have to follow when you make content or prepare content on any of the issue that is going on in current affairs section. I hope I have made my points very clear to you all. Having done that, now let's move to analyze the topic further. So that is the first thing, is why in news. Why in news? As we had seen, this is the first thing. So there is this political unrest going on, and it is youth-led. So what happened is that here there is political unrest in Nepal. Why it happened? What are the reasons that happened? We need to analyze. But before that, make sure that you know this term Gen Z. Gen Zs are the ones who are born between, who are 16 to 25 years of age. So this protest is being led by the Gen Zs. We can say that this protest is being led by Gen Zs. And in that, this was a violent protest whereby few human lives have been lost, like in the range of 50, you can say, and there are some people who have been injured. The government building have been torched, and there have been political parties, their political leaders, even the Prime Minister, the wife of ex-Prime Ministers, she was very brutally burned, and that shows the nature of the violence that has been caused because of this protest. So I hope that you are clear that why this in under Y section in news policies you have understood. So now let us move to B, the reasons. What are the reasons for this unrest that is going on? So, you know, we need to analyze once again the issue comprehensively, and for that purpose, what I have done is, we have to see from political instability angle, we have to see from corruption angle, we have to see from this thing, economic challenges, we then also have to see from the unemployment angle, and then in the end we are going to see this immediate trigger. What caused this protest to happen so immediately and on such lines, right? So, what is political instability? You need to remember two timelines, two things. In Nepal, monarchy was being followed. Monarchy was being followed. Under political history, we'll see. The political history of Nepal, we'll see. What was happening is, in 1990, in the year 1990, this democracy was, installed, or democracy was restored in Nepal. That is the one thing you need to remember. And 2008, the monarchy had ended. So during this 2000, since 1990, no government has completed its term. The full term, none of the government has completed its term. So that is the first thing, that is non-completion of term by any government. Right? So that is the first thing you need to understand, that non-completion of term by any government, that becomes a really very significant issue. Why? Because if the government is not stable, stability of government is really very important for anything, any mature thing to happen. You are getting my point? For any mature thing, any policy to mature, that requires political stability, which was not there in Nepal, or which has not been there in Nepal. Even after this new constitution was made after 2015, that stability has not been able to be achieved in Nepal. So that is, even after constitution, this has not been ensured. And if you guys remember, in 2015, there was huge protest by Madheshis because they were not being given adequate representation in the parliament. So that is the two things that you need to remember in political instability, and this is since 1990. Since 1990, that is the case. And even after 2008, the restoration of this monarchy was abolished. Even after that, this thing has happened, and new constitution also didn't help in having that political stability. You are getting my point? So this political instability is one of the reasons for the protest that is happening in Nepal. That is one thing. Second thing is corruption. The political leaders are involved in huge corruption that is going on in their country, in Nepal. Like, two of the corruption cases you'll have to remember in order to address the issue. One is this Lalit Niwas land scheme was there. Lalit Niwas land scam was there. What was there in that is this, like, we have got our Lutyens Delhi, right? Lutyens Delhi, we call it. We have got that area. Now, that is the property owned by government. That is the government property. What the political leaders started to do with the real estate developers and all is that they started to transfer that land to some businessman or big property owners. They started to transfer that land. So this is the one thing that came to light. So land grab, Lalit Niwas land grab scam was unearthed in 2023. And the second scam that was happening is, second corruption related scam was that fake refugee scam was there. Fake refugee scam was there. You are getting my point? scam, fake refugee scam. What happened is, see, there is some refugee policy to be followed, right? What they did is, they started to, like, there is some policy in Nepal which ensures that Bhutanese refugees, if they come, they will be given certain benefits. What the politicians and bureaucrats of that place started to do is, this they started to distribute fake refugee card to, you know, people from Nepal itself, and they started to give them benefits, and in that corruption has happened. So that also is the second corruption scam that we have been able to see in Nepal. So that is the next very important thing that we needed to remember over here. You are getting my point? So two instances of corruption, if you write in your exam, it will fetch you a very good marks. Okay, fine, you have got that idea of the scam or of the particular incident. The examiners look for specificity. You are getting my, and you are providing that specificity to the examiner. You are getting my point? So this is the second aspect we are addressing, that is corruption. Also important is the Nepal finds 110th place in corruption perception index. Corruption perception index. So that is also important. Corruption perception index. This becomes really very important for us. You are getting my point? So these are the corruption related things that was there in Nepal, because of which this scam is going on. Because of this, which this scam, this protest is going on. The next thing that comes to light is the economic challenges. You know, the economic, and this is really very important for any country to have that sense of security amongst the citizens. This economic challenges, when you'll go and see, Nepal is actually the poorest country. Nepal is actually the poorest country, and it is also least developed country in the world. One of the least developed country, right? So that is important for us to remember, least developed country. So that is what next thing that we needed to see, poorest and the least developed country. When you'll analyze the economy of Nepal further, you'll find most of its population engaged in agriculture. Like 70% of the population of Nepal is indulged in agriculture, right? And agriculture has 42% of contribution in GDP, 42%. So when the country is agrarian based, you can understand the level of poverty that country might have. So agriculture based economy Nepal is having. Also, when you will see the per capita income, of Nepal, it is also very low, like compared to world average, that is only $680 or something. $680 or something is the what you call as per capita income. You are getting my point? And then comes GDP per capita. GDP per capita, this is also very low in compared to the world average. GDP per capita. So this is approximately, I guess, it is $1,400. Approximately $1,400. You don't have to write absolute data, like if it is $680. So you don't have to write this complete figure $680. You can write approximately $600 if you do not remember that, because you have to remember so many of data. So much you can aramse do. Approximately $1,500 you can make, and all sort of things you can do. So these are the three topics. First of all, we saw under what? Under the reasons why the protest is going on. That is political reasons we saw, corruption we saw, economic challenges we saw. Now we are going to see this unemployment. Now Nepal is a country where unemployment is actually perpetuating. Unemployment is actually perpetuating poverty. Unemployment, it is perpetuating poverty. You are getting my point? Perpetuating. When you are not getting employment, how are you going to fight poverty? Right? This unemployment is actually causing migration. You must be seeing in India also. In India also, we have many people from Nepal working over here. They're really very nice, sweet persons wherever you see them, right? Only so this is the one thing, that is unemployment. The next thing in this unemployment, it is not only unemployment that is there in Nepal, rather underemployment is there. Underemployment is there, like so many underemployment. So you are not getting employment as per. So for instance, you are an engineer, or maybe people will be like, engineers to care anyways. So maybe you are an engineer and you are working as sweeper, or you are working as a accountant maybe, or computer operator. So that is the kind of thing that is there in Nepal, which is hurting the youth of Nepal. So all those reasons, all these reasons, the intellectual reasons that we talked about, political instability, corruption, economic challenges, unemployment, these are the reasons we all know. These are the reasons we all know. It is like very long-term reasons. There need to have something immediate trigger that would have triggered the protest. Immediate reason. What was that immediate? Like role of that 1857 revolt of 1857. When we read, there is reasons. There were plenty of reasons. But what was the immediate? That cartridge, right? So that is how we have to understand over here as well what was the immediate trigger. So immediate trigger was ban on 26 social media platforms. Ban on 26 social media platforms. What happened is, all the platforms, Facebook, Insta, X, which is Twitter, and there are other platforms, 26 total platforms were banned, apart from one gaming platform where the voting happened in fact, and that was also a bit funny, but this is how it worked. To elect the Prime Minister, voting happened on a gaming platform, one. And the second thing is that except TikTok was not banned in Nepal, so that was also running. What happened is that, you see, over here social media has the social media companies has a great role to play. Actually, Nepal asked these companies to follow the regulations, to sign that document. The government regulations are there which you are supposed to follow. But those companies, they are so huge. They did not comply with the government's order, because of which the government has to ban them. Now, all of you must be like, many of you will be from the Gen Z crowd only. Now, you suppose taking this, you just imagine taking this social media platforms from Gen Z's life. From millennials, okay, it'll work fine. But when you take this out from Gen Z's life, their life is completely dependent on them only, on this only. So you need to understand that also. So what happened is, they were like going to protest, and the protest was supposed to be what do you say, peaceful protest. This protest was supposed to be peaceful protest. But that the convener of the protest, that is Durga Prasai. What happened is, this fellow actually broke the barrier using his bulletproof vehicle and started to march forward. The security breach was there, which he broke and started to proceed further, which triggered what do you call? Motivated the crowd, the Gen Z crowd, and they also went violent like anything. So this is the immediate trigger that was there. You are getting my point, everyone? If there is anything, you can comment in the drop your comment in the comment section. It will be taken care, right? So these are the reasons. Now let us see what sections. Under what sections there is this views by the various scholars. We'll come back to it only later, right? Now let us see what is the political situation, Nepal's current political situation. So current political situation is KP Oli is the prime minister, right? And he has actually resigned. He was the prime minister. Following protest, he resigned, and now a new prime minister, who is the former CJI has been appointed as interim prime minister. He has been appointed as interim prime minister, right? So this is the current political situation that is there, and there is complete lack of government as well as governance, as you can see it over here, right? And the next thing is that we are going to see is the under what section only, what is the current political system of Nepal. Current political system they are asking about. So their current political system is almost similar to us in India. So if you have seen the Indian political system, you will understand it really very clearly. That is a federal democratic republic. That is the one thing, democratic republic, right? That is one thing that we need to know, understand. Federal Democratic Republic Nepal has been calling itself as. So you all know what does federal mean, right? You all know what is democratic mean. You all must be knowing what does this republic mean. So these are the current political. Now, what do they follow? They follow parliamentary systems. Right? Parliamentary systems. Parliamentary systems, you must be knowing, which implies the dual executive. One is president, the other is prime minister. Dual executive is there. President is nominal head, prime minister real head. The de facto and the de jure that we mentioned about. There is bicameral legislature, parliamentary form. There is bicameral legislature, right? Bicameral legislature. So this is also really very important for all of us to understand. Bicameral legislature, parliamentary form of government. Independent judiciary, right? This is also very important, judiciary. And then there is the election that happens. So what are the methods? The mode that we follow is the first past the post system. For some seats. In House of Representatives, जैसे हमारा लोकसभा है, right? Plus the second will be proportional representation. For some of the seats, they follow this methodology as well. You are getting my point? So this is the current political system of Nepal, which you are supposed to understand it really very clearly. In order to understand the issue that is going on in the country, clarity on these things are really very important. Getting my point? So this is the third thing under what section. Now what is the China's factor? Now China is like very, aggressively, that territorial boundaries they do not respect really very much. So what is happening is the government of Nepal, there was a report by government's report, right? that government of Nepal said four districts are going to lose, areas to who? The Chinese. Why? Because Chinese are building or expanding its road project, and four districts of Nepal bordering China is going to lose the land, lose the area to who? China. So that also was one of the thing that China's angle was there. The people were burning effigies of Xi Jinping, right? So this was also seen over there. So this is the fourth thing that we had to see in this. The next is Treaty of Peace and friendship between who? India and Nepal. This treaty was signed in 1950, and this treaty is like has become redundant, you can say. Why? Because 1950 was where, and we are sitting in 2025, so it has become redundant, but it is an impactful one. Why? Because this gives reciprocal relations, right? Reciprocal treatment to who? The citizens of both countries. The citizens of both countries. Citizens of both countries, right? So when you see there are people from Nepal working here, national treatment we are giving. You are getting my point? When people from India goes into Nepal, they are also they will also be receiving that national treatment. We have got this in terms of what is called business, in terms of land. We are allowed for all these things, right? Job and all those things we are allowed to go ahead with it. Residence, property, business, movement, all those things we have given it to them. There is, when you will get into the details of Treaty of Friendship and Peace, you will see there are more into it, right? And there is freedom of movement of goods and trade through the open border. India and Nepal is having open border between each other. There is no like such thing as we have on Nepal border, China border or Bangladesh border. You are getting my point? So these are the things that is there in what do you call as under the what section of the topic. You are getting my point? So now we are going to see this, having seen all these things, before jumping to the negative territory. We had left the scholars. Do you remember? So let us see that scholar as well, right? So what do scholars have to say on Indo-Nepal relations? So the first scholar is V.P. Haran, and we all know how important scholars are when it comes to answer writing in UPSC examination, UPSC CSE examination, right? So when we see this, V.P. Haran, this diplomat said that peace, stability and security in the region, with regard to Indo-Nepal relations we are talking about, peace, security and peace, stability and security are very much in the national interest of India, very much in the national interest of India. This we need to understand. And then he says that active institutionalization of things with Nepal is in our favor. For example, we need to go, or we need to work with Nepal, for example, bilateral meetings. It needs to keep happening. Why? Because it gives momentum into the relationships. That we need to understand. The next thing that we are going to see is in this section is what we will see is Professor S.D. Muni. Professor S.D. Muni, that is, he is the professor of JNU and also member of IDSA. You must be aware about that website, and he is a very prominent figure in international affairs, right? So we need to understand this thing as well, what Professor S.D. Muni had to say. Professor S.D. Muni says that, see, geography and people to people contact, geography of Nepal and India as well as people to people contact is very much in favor of India. You are getting my point? Geography of Nepal and India, it's very much in favor of Indo-Nepal relation, plus people to people contact also, it is very much in favor of what? Contact, very much in favor of who? Nepal, Indo-Nepal relations, right? Indo-Nepal relations. But you know, we are lagging. We are lagging behind. Where? Lagging behind in G to G relations, government to government relations. And why is that happening? Is because of the insecurity. Because of the insecurity in India's foreign policy. In India's foreign policy. Now, since I am teaching and since this is we are preparing for UPSC, so I would have to agree with Professor S.D. Muni Sahab, but otherwise I do not believe so. You are getting my point? As per my understanding, this is not the case. But since he has said, and it is the thing that I am quoting him, so I don't, I'm not, we are clear about it. You are getting my point? So this is what he believes, right? And after that, so we saw VP Haran, this Professor S.D. Muni Sahab we saw, and then there is Shyam Saran Sahab, who is also a career diplomat. So in this we have to understand one thing, that he also talks something on the similar lines as Professor S.D. Muni had to say, and he suggests that India needs to, once again, same P2P, it's in our favor. P2P is good. We need to work on G2G. Work on what? G2G. Government to government relations. And for that matter, he is, Shyam Saran Sahab says that India should sign any treaty, India should sign any treaty that Nepal is willing to negotiate. Nepal is willing to negotiate. You are getting my point? So this is also really very important. Nepal to negotiate. This becomes very important for all of us to understand. Now this is C. Raja Mohan Sahab. He is a very popular one amongst the aspirants, and you all must be aware about him. So he says that in order to resolve China, on China issue, if you have to work, you will have to work on Nepal first policy. You will have to work on Nepal first policy. You are getting my point? This is the first thing you need to work upon, Nepal first. And then he says that you need to work on one more thing. If you want to work closely with Nepal, you cannot take Nepal for granted. You cannot take this country for granted, right? Cannot take this country for granted, right? You need to pay that country a bit of respect. You are getting my point? And then he says that you should also not make the mistakes that you have committed in past. And what is that mistake? The interference the interference in domestic policy of Nepal, in domestic politics of Nepal. You are getting my point? Politics of Nepal. This is very much important as per Siraj. You should not interfere in the domestic politics of Nepal. This is what he had to say on Indo-Nepal relations insofar as this C. Raja Mohan Sahab is concerned, right? Now, Harsh V. Pant Sahab is there, as we can say next, that India and with his views, I agree to some extent. Why? Because he says something very important. He says that India has missed the opportunity to consolidate its hold, You are getting my point? Its hold in South Asian region, and this becomes very important for all of us to understand. He has said this very important and significant point for the country. What? That we have not been able to consolidate our hold in South Asia. Be it Bangladesh, be it Nepal, be it Bhutan, all of them at times, Maldives, all of them at times start behaving very erratic. You are getting my point? Not aligned with the interest of India. Being the regional power, after China, India is the regional power, right? So being regional power, these countries needs to be taken care. You are getting my point? It should be in alignment with India. See, India's strength is, it's a soft power. Space, culture, art, all these things are music, all these are people, all these things are the soft power. Now, we try to extend this soft power to all the other countries, right? And those countries only, if they will not comply with our interest, if they will not respect our interest, what is this international relations or, international affairs is all about? You are getting my point? So this needs to be very important point, that India needs to consolidate its hold in South Asian region. That is one thing. And it also said that actually post 1990s, India has not been focusing on this region itself. India has not been focusing on this region itself. They started to focus rather on what? Rather on the major powers like the United States of America. This is what this Harsh V. Pant Sahab has said about this Indo-Pak relations, right? So I hope you have got this point, right? So now this scholar's point of view we have seen. Now we are moving on to the next. All these things we have already seen, right? Now we are getting into this negative territory. In the negative territory, when you come, the first topic is Nepal suspecting India's role. So in this, you need to understand certain things. What are those things is that, okay, I'll keep black only. What is, Yogi Adityanath connection. Yogi Adityanath connection. Okay. Yogi Adityanath connection. Now over here, what happens is that the protest that was going on in Nepal, in that protest, the protesters were carrying the Yogi Adityanath poster. Now this dynasty, this monarchy that was there, Gyanendra Shah, you must be listening to this name. He is actually a calls himself Gorakhpanthi. Gorakhpanthi. What is happened is, this Gorakhnath temple is there in Gorakhpur, from of which temple, that Gorakhnath temple, he is the one who presides over. You are getting my point? And that Gorakhnath temple, the deity of the temple is actually, you can call Kul Devata of this monarch's family, or they have been praying to the deity of this Gorakhnath temple, and that connection brings to Yogi Adityanath. So that flashing of the poster of Yogi Adityanath, you all have must come across those pictures, those posters. So that was something which made the government of Nepal to think of this as the role of India. In fact, KP Oli, the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister, actually mentioned this as well, that in national protest, we do not carry the poster of the leaders from foreign nations. You are getting my point? So that is also very important. Having said that, now in the negative territory, the next point is, the next subheading is challenges in the Indo-Nepal relations. Challenges in Indo-Nepal relations. So what are the challenges? So first challenge is this friendship treaty, which has become redundant, and this needs an update. This has become redundant and this needs update. The third thing, the second thing that is there in Indo-Nepal relations is the territorial disputes. There are some areas which Nepal and India has been claiming of belonging to each other's territory. You are getting my point? So what are those areas is Kala Pani, Lipu Lake, Kala Pani and Lipu Lake. This is a very popular one. One more is there, some what we call Limpia Dhura, right? Limpia Dhura. These are the territories that India and Nepal has been contesting to belonging to each other's territory. Plus recently what happened is, government has created a road to Mansarovar, going through this area only, Kalapani, Mansarovar, right, through Kalapani. So that also has been contended by Nepal. So these are two things we saw in these challenges. The third thing is Madheshi issues. Now Madheshis are have been protesting in 2015, and they had actually created blockade for 4 or 5 months. The goods were not being able to be transported in that country. This Madheshis say that we are the original resident of Nepal, and yet we have not been given adequate representation. Adequate representation in parliament. Adequate representation in parliament, as this is what their claim is, right? So that also we need to understand. Now comes what is the Chinese interference. Chinese also have been in the country, and they are the ones who have been interfering in the in between the Indo and Nepal relations. How? They are one of the largest source of FDI. Largest FDI source. They are one of the largest FDI source. And then there is one Trans-Himalaya Economic Corridor. Trans-Himalaya Economic Corridor. That is being created by China, and Nepal has urged that since it can pave the way for for China to be entering South Asian regions, so that also is important. That is coming in between Indo-Nepal relations. The next one is BRI, Belt Road Initiative of China. Nepal has been supporting that as well, and there is another, that is Nepal is supporting Nepal is supporting who? China's entrance in SAARC, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, SAARC, China's entry into SAARC. So that also Nepal is supporting. This is the fourth factor that we just saw. And then there is political instability. So why political instability here also? Because when there is no political stability in the country, the political leaders for narrow gains promise whatever and they take anti-India stand. Anti-India stand, right? For what? For stand for nothing impactful, rather narrow political gains, right? So this also comes in between, like you must have seen that an India out t-shirt being worn by the contender for who later went on to become the president of the Maldives, right? So that kind of stand is being taken even in Nepal. Then comes the next, that is the security threat. So we know that India and Nepal has a porous border. India and Nepal has a porous border, and which leads to, because of which porous border, since there is porous border, it is like open border. So illegal activities like smuggling or trafficking or like that, or maybe terrorists, they also use this area like anything for creating ruckus or terror in the country. So all these things becomes what is become important in Indo-Nepal relations, and these are the challenges. Other can be human trafficking. We all know human trafficking. These are the things that is there, right? Human trafficking. So this is the next thing that we see. And then comes this trust deficit between India and Nepal. And why is that trust deficit? Is because of the what do we say? Trust deficit comes because of delay in implementation of projects. Delay in implementation of projects. You are getting my point? Delay in implementation of projects. So that brings trust deficit between the leadership of India and leadership of Nepal. So that also is a problem, actually more because it is India's fault. So more trust deficit on part of Nepal. Now we have to see this impact on India's relations. So first is security concerns. You all know that if there is no governance, that no government, that protest is going on, there is no government to take care, so there will be lack of governance, and this gives power. This gives power to who? The illegal element, illegal people, illegal, those involved in illegal crimes, you can say, involved in illegal crimes, they will get some power and they'll start to do something or the other, right? Then impact of this protest that is going on in Nepal. The second is economic. You know, there is approximately $7 billion of trade of export India does to Nepal, and import is I think $7.3 billion to be precise, billion. Export, this is export, and then comes 1.5 billion of import from Nepal. So this this also gets impacted if there is protest that is going on. Development cooperation, that also gets impacted. Like there is there is a project, there are approximately 573 projects that is going on in Nepal, and that too high impact community development projects. High impact community development projects are going on. High impact community development projects are going on. Projects are going on. Expanding across various sectors, education, health, infrastructure, and all. This also gets impacted because of, for the reasons of these kind of protests. And then there is halt to hydropower energy cooperation. There is energy cooperation that is going on, like we have got long-term trade partnership with Nepal, long-term trade partnership plus tripartite agreement with Bangladesh, tripartite agreement between India, Nepal, and Bangladesh. So this is also this also gets impacted. Nepal actually exports electricity to Bangladesh, and the next thing is that long-term deal we have, long-term energy deal you can say we have with Nepal. This also gets impacted. And then there is defense and security cooperation, like we have exercises like Surya Kiran. Surya Kiran between India and Nepal. Surya Kiran. So this exercise and exercises like that, it gets impacted because of these kind of things, right? So that also becomes important. Now we are getting into the positive territory. And as we have seen in positive territory, we are going to see two dimensions, that is historical and cultural relations, and also we will see that significance of Indo-Nepal relations, and after that we will be seeing the way forward. Historical and cultural relations, when you will come to, there is first, that is epic ties, like Ramayana. Ramayana talks about, you know, the marriage of the king of Ayodhya, the prince of Ayodhya, that is Lord Ram, and the princess of Janak, that is Mata Sita, they got married. So Janak is in Nepal, Ayodhya is in India. So we have even that connection between India and Nepal. Followed by ancient republics. Ancient republics. You know, this republics that was there in Bihar and that Magad and Shakya, you can say. Magad and Shakya. Shakya republics. These were the two republics that was there, and their areas expanded across the border. Areas expanded across the border, like beyond in Nepal also. For example, you can see Lord Buddha was born on as a Prince Siddhartha. Where he was born? He was born in Nepal only, that is Lumbini, right? So Prince Siddhartha, Lord Buddha also you can mention, Lord Buddha. So we have got that connection as well with, he was born where? Born in Lumbini. And then comes this military ties that we is having. You see, there was conflict between Nepal and the Britain. Nepal and Anglo-Nepal, this you can say Anglo-Nepal. What happened is, they were in conflict with each other, and this led to signing of Treaty of Sugauli. Treaty of Sugauli. And this treaty of 1815 actually led to this recruitment of Nepalis, recruitment of Nepalis in army, You are getting my point or not? Recruitment of Nepalis in army. This is the military ties that we saw, right? So you can see Nepalis are still there, Gurkhas are there. We will see that in significance of this treaty as significance of Indo-Nepal relations as well. The next that we are seeing is, we are having friendship treaty with Nepal, that is since 1950. So these are the, you know, historical and cultural relations between India and Nepal. Now we are going to see significance of Indo-Nepal relations. Significance of Indo-Nepal relations. And in that significance, we have to see historical and cultural. So historical and cultural, when you will go, there are religion that is same in both, that is Hinduism, right? Hinduism. And then you will see, another thing, that is the festivals that we celebrate. Festivals. So we have this common religion. Sorry, some disturbance was there. Common religion, that is Hinduism. Then we also see that there is common festivals that we celebrate. Common festivals that we celebrate, like Holi, Diwali, and all we celebrate, right? And then there are other things as well which can come in the historical and cultural context, and that is the language. We can say we speak language, and since that is more near to Bihar, you can say the languages that is spoken is Hindi, Bhojpuri, and this Mathili. Bhojpuri and Mathili, right? Mathili. So this is also very important for all of us to understand, right? So historical and cultural ties. Also, the Ramayana circuit is proposed, you know. Ramayana circuit is proposed for both the countries, right? Both the countries, India and Nepal, because Janak is in Nepal, Janakpur, right? So that is the second thing. Significance we are seeing. The next significance is economic cooperation. You know, we have economic cooperation. One of the largest FDI by Indian businessmen, like 33.5%, you can say 33.5% was FDI comes from Indian only. So one of the largest FDI that was there in this Nepal from India. Also, Nepal is landlocked country, but India has given it access to the sea, landlocked, but that is removed by giving access to sea. A revised treaty has been signed, wherein this what do you call as under this this inland waterways, access to inland waterways will also be given to Nepal. Inland waterways, right? So that will also be given to Nepal. This also becomes really very important. The next that comes is this defense cooperation. So under defense cooperation, we see Gurkhas are there, right? 32,000 Gurkhas are there in the Indian army. Gurkhas are there in the Indian army, plus modernization of Nepal army is going on. Work in modernization of Nepal army is work in progress, right? Nepal army is work in progress for the Indian government, right? So next comes hydroelectric and regional cooperation. That again, once again, comes the same thing. That is, there is this Nepal has been exporting hydroelectricity to Bangladesh, and we have got some serious projects in Nepal, like Arun 3, like Lower Arun, like Phuket. All those things all those projects are already running in Nepal, right? So exporting electricity to Bangladesh plus projects with Indian help like Arun 3, Lower Arun, etc. So these are also running, right? Now comes this humanitarian assistance. When humanitarian assistance, India has always ensured that the neighborhood, whenever they are in humanitarian crisis, the government of India reaches them first under neighborhood first policy, and that we can see through different projects that is conducted by the government of India, like the one during the earthquake. What $1 billion earthquake, $1 billion was extended as assistance for development of Nepal post earthquake. So that is one thing. The second thing you can see is during COVID-19, Nepal was one of the first country to receive vaccine from India, right? Receive vaccine from India. You are getting my point? So that also becomes really very important under humanitarian assistance. Now, education. In education, total approximately 1500 scholarships are extended every year for Nepali citizens to study either in India or in Nepal. Wherever that student wants to study, this scholarship will be given to the 1500 students, right? And thereafter, we see this digital financial connectivity. For example, UPI. We all know Nepal has adopted UPI, and we can, the Indians, if they are traveling to Nepal, they can aram se make payment through this UPI. There is this, what do you call it as, oil pipeline between India and Nepal, which connects Motihari in Bihar, Motihari in Bihar to Amlekhganj in Nepal. You are getting my point or not? So this is also very important thing under this Indo-Nepal relations. And the next is multilateral engagements. India and Nepal is connected through multiple organizations like BBIN plus Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal plus BIMSTEC, right? In that also both the countries are there. After that there is SAARC. In that also both the countries are there. Then both follow non-alignment movement. So this is the multilateral engagements between India and Nepal. You are getting my point? Now, what is the next? The next one is way ahead. Under that, we are seeing what can be done. This is what we are going to see in this section. Managing current monarchy issues. Why people are so much in wish to bring in the monarchy back and get done with this republic things, right? So we need to first of all try to manage the current monarchy issue. Try to find a middle path in that Nepal. That is the one thing. The second thing is institutional reforms to bring in political stability. We need to work on the the election commission. They conduct elections over there. We need to work on other political, other institutions as well. We need to reform so that this political stability comes. We need to increase the transparency. Adopt some measures to hold the politicians accountable. And then this economic reforms, economic reforms is very much important in order to remove corruption, in order to increase per capita income, increase per capita GDP, all those things, increase employment. So for that matter, there needs to be economic reforms in Nepal, and that followed by ensuring the press freedom. Recently, we saw even the press persons were attacked. So we need to ensure press freedom in the country, so that communication or that debate and deliberation might happen in the country very intellectually, right? And then comes international collaborations, like Nepal should make a space for international collaboration in order to receive this foreign investments or other aids or other reformed measures from the other country. So I hope that this issue, that is political stability in Nepal, has been clear to you all, and this multi-dimensional coverage of the issue is going to help you in the preparation of your UPSC CSE examination, especially the mains. Also, in the end, you need to remember that whenever a country comes in news, the next thing that you need to do is that you need to see the boundary of that country. So which are the states that form boundary with Nepal? It is Uttarakhand, it is UP, it is Bihar, it is West Bengal, and it is Sikkim. So these are the 5 states that form boundary with Nepal. That also becomes important. So with this small fact and with this comprehensive coverage of this issue, that will be all from my end. Thank you so very much everyone for being patient and watching the video, and please drop in a comment section on what else it could be included in the topic. Thank you all. Thank you so very much.